inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I want to talk to you guys about interpreting dreams. Now, is it just me, or is everybody recently been having really vivid dreams? And I have a theory to this. It's probably because we're more stressed out, because Maharishi Mahesh Yogi apparently says that we dream, and when we dream, we release stress. It's a form of stress relief. You can go the psychoanalytic route and understand what Freud said. Freud said that dreams were kind of like free association of things that are wrong with you, like neuroses, and you can do that from anything. It doesn't have to have any kind of, facts in it. You can free associate from looking at a billboard to anything, right? So you take a dream, you take an image, and you just start bouncing ideas off of, like, oh, this links to this, and that links to that, 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 and that links. You might go somewhere random, but you make a conclusion, right? That's kind of Freud's way. I am a bigger proponent of Jung. He has his own way of doing things, obviously, like, he's a lot more in touch with, you could say, the mystical and the paranormal, the parapsychological. And he believes in this idea that dreams are the psyche's attempt to try to communicate with us. So it's a subconscious tool for communication with ourselves. The process of really breaking those down, or analyzing or interpreting those dreams, would be for your individuation, which means for building your personality towards your integrated core self. It's integrated. That's what individuation is. You individuate. You become an individual. Dreams don't seem to have any kind of morality or ethics, right? It's just emotions. Just emotions and images that cause the emotions. We're slowly going into the realm of dreams, the realm of imagination, and so things aren't always going to make sense, but I would definitely advise that you pay attention to the images and pay attention to what you are feeling in terms of your emotions. If you feel scared in the dream, that's an indicator of something to work on in terms of that emotion, okay? So let's say you feel anger in the dream, that's something to work on in real life, okay? Jung said to establish the context with minute care. Right, so what is the context of the dream? Let's say that you are in a field trip in school or something in the dream, and you understand that, oh, I've been to a field trip before, maybe it's that field trip, and you try to relate it to something in your own life, in a sense. However, if you just simply look at the context, what does a trip to a field actually signify? Then you can reveal in the most matter-of-fact way on how you describe a field trip to a child. So that's a really helpful process, is like, try to make it so easy that a second grader can understand it. It's like a field trip is when you go either on a school trip or somewhere where you visit somewhere. Sometimes it's around nature, which is why it's called a field trip, because it's a field. And a trip is a journey. It's somewhere where you can travel. And so you start exploring in that, the vocabulary, the simplest. Truth is the greatest measure of effectiveness, because the more true something is, the closer to God something is. The more simple something is, the closer to the truth that thing is. I would get to the context by describing it and paying attention to the images that are created. Maybe you're carrying something when you're going on the field trip. Okay, that's another symbol that we can really go into and break down, right? Of course, Jung also mentioned that, we move on treacherous ground, because it's, he said that nothing is certain but uncertainty in the dream realms. He also said it's almost like an expression of a involuntary psychic process that's happening, right? So it's just a way that it expresses itself. The opposite of expression is depression. So if you're not having a lot of dreams, I would actually look into that, because dreams are healthy. We need dreams sometimes in order to really deal with what's going on. I once had a theory on lucid dreaming that that becomes almost like a default mode network. Not like in our brain, but it becomes a default space where we can control the elements and images of our psyche in terms of our own unconscious mind. And when we can do that in the dream, we can do that in real life, you see. So it becomes almost like a template, a draft version that we can edit in the dream realm with our own, dream self. And then when we wake up, it integrates or individuates in a sense. It helps you to get closer to the personality that you know you are, and not trapped in the logic of the dream. You want to understand to pay attention more to the repeating scenes that are happening, right? Like a dream series, you'd call it, right? Pay attention more to the repeating dreams than one single dream. Just make sure that you notice contents in the dream and basic themes. I used to keep a dream journal, okay? Just write down little things that you remember when you wake up. That's always helpful. I've stopped doing that now, but sometimes when I see a symbol in the dream, I just look up the symbol, and dreammoods.com is one of them, but then they changed it, so they made it alphabetical. You have to search it that way. But anyway, that's a great one to give you an interpretation. You can always Google it, look it up online. I like doing that because it gives me a different perspective in a different context, right? It doesn't always mean that that's the case, right? But it is important to notice that there are certain archetypes that are floating around in our psyche, right? And those archetypes have meaning to them. And we as humans, we're meaning-making machines. So of course, we're going to want to make sense of those things. I'm guessing it would also be helpful to classify, like, okay, lucid dream, nightmare, dream, STB, meaning seen this before, symbolic of this, symbolic of that. You start to notice that dream sequence or that dream series, right? It's like it becomes a show that every time you tap into to sleep time, you go into the show, and it's like, what am I going to watch tonight, right, in the dream? It's also important for you to have deep, sound sleep, to be able to dream deeper and get these images deeper. Of course, it's not always easy, but the main thing I'd say you want to focus on is getting rid of bodily tension. That keeps people awake a lot. It kept me awake last night. So I did yoga this morning to get more, fully filled, you could say, fulfilled, to be able to actually, take a little nap. And sometimes I've noticed in naps, actually, that I dream more, and time distorts in a dream. It's quite weird. Like, you feel like you slept like an entire day, but it just feels like 2 hours or whatever. I think it definitely says things about us. We are dreamers. We are these people that like to use the images of our mind to try to make sense of things. And dream interpretation is huge in psychoanalysis, and I think there's a lot of credence to that. There's a lot of, truth to it. Of course, you might like the free association model. I sometimes like it too. It's like you free associate and you try to get to the bottom of like what this means. And I always like going by perspective. So, if you tell, like, let's say 5 friends and hear their interpretation on it, it will give you an understanding of like, okay, how can I piece my own interpretation together now? Also, one thing that I've noticed is that dreams are deeply personal. Like, try having someone describing a dream to you, right? You're going to be like, what? What are you talking about? It's deeply personal to them. So this is the reason why we do it, and the reason why it's called individuation, right? Because it's not about others, it's about you. Yeah, it's like, it's a bigger sample size, right? You ask more people about the dream, ask them what they think about it. It just gives you another lens to look at it. And it's very powerful, because then you can actually, slowly start to become lucid in the dream to actually change that, and that change will also change the elements of your real life. So I hope this video helped you out today. If you have any more questions about dreams or dream interpretation or analysis, shoot me a message, and we can talk more about it. But have an amazing day. May the flow be with you, and stay legendary.